Hey everyone, this is Heather here. This is going to be a quick but not so quick introduction to a live options flow. There are so many tools in this dashboard, so I'm not sure this is going to be quick, but let's see how much time does it take to go over the entire tool. So live options flow is a tool that gives you the summary of where the money is being spent in terms of options, and this is live, so you see data every second during market hours, and you can see how people are spending their money on what symbols, on on what strikes, on what expirations. You can see everything. So this is a very comprehensive tool, and if you can learn this tool, you might be able to spot patterns, and you might be able to spot signals or trade ideas that might not be visible in other tools, because this tool shows you raw data in terms of how people are spending their money. So this is really useful and a really comprehensive tool. So let's start and see how much time does it take. So on the top we have the detailed filtering. So if you want to filter the table based on bid ask, based on premiums, based on strike, based on expiration, or based on anything else, you can just click on these things and you'll be able to filter. Then you can also look at the historical data if you want. So just select the date ranges and you'll be able to load up historical data. On the top we have some stats from the table that we can see right here. If the table gets updated, these stats are going to get updated as well. Let me show you how. So keep an eye on the stats and let's search for Apple. You can see that these net premiums, cost to puts, everything changed. So let's go back. Alright, so here we have all these filters that you can use to filter down the table. If we go to the bottom of the table, we can see that there are about 21,000 entries. So you obviously cannot look at all of them. You want to apply some filters and then see the filter data to figure out your place. So let's see what filters might be useful for us. So the first filter that you might want to use is bot and complex. So complex is going to show you all the trades that were either a split, a sweep, or a block trade. If you are new, you might ask what a sweep or a split or a block trade is. Sweeps are trades that are separated into smaller trades and are then executed in different exchanges. The reason people do this is because they want to hide their intentions and they want to hide any extra information that they have, which is why they split up their order and fill it on different exchanges. So you always want to keep an eye on sweeps. Splits are sweeps, but they are filled in the same exchange, although they are split into different orders. And then block is just a really large order. So now that we know what these things mean, you can filter out these things by just choosing the complex filter. If you want to filter these individually, then you have individual filters for these. Now each of these contracts are filled at a price. So let's say the bid price is 100, the ask price is 110. This is just a hypothetical example, and let's say the contract was filled at about 105. So that's a fair value. Someone paid 105 when the ask was 110 and the bid was 100. But sometimes if people are in an urgent situation, or if they have too much confidence in a play, they might be willing to pay you more than what the contract is worth. So sometimes the price might be higher than the ask price, or someone might sell something with a lower price than the bid price. Those are really strong signals, because as you can imagine, they are telling us things about the people that are trading those signals, that are trading that flow. So that you can filter by using this above ask and below bid filters. So just keep that in mind. Now then we have the ITM and OTM. So these mean in the money and out of the money. If you're not familiar with options, I'd highly recommend you sort of spend some time on Google reading up on what options are and what are some of the basics of options. Once you do that, you'll understand what ITM and OTM are. Then we have a volume greater than OI. So these are some of the contracts that are slightly unusual, and you might want to look into those to see if anything pops up. Then we have contracts for short expiry. So the reason short expiration date is important is because Let's say Facebook is at $300 and someone just bought a contract for 500 strike, but the contract is for 2023. Now that tells us that the person might be expecting the price to, let's say, reach 400 or 500, but by 2023. And many people cannot wait by 2023. We are in 2021 right now. So that's why you want to look at contracts that have a shorter expiration dates, because that tells you that these contracts are bought or sold based on some urgency. So if someone is, let's say Facebook is at 300 and someone just spent $1 million on a 400 strike call and the expiration date is next week, that is a very strong signal that someone might know something about Facebook, and which is why they're spending $1 million on a 400 call for next week, because the call is going to expire if the price doesn't reach 400. So that's a very strong signal. In case of puts, let's say someone spends $2 million on a 50 Apple put when the price is at about 120, then that is a very strong signal that they might know something that we don't, and you might want to look into some other flow to see if you can find any pattern or if you can make a trade out of that. So that's why you want to use short expiration dates when you are looking at the flow. Then we have leaps. Obviously, if you're a long-term investor, then you want to look at contracts that have a sort of longer term expiration date. Then we have contracts that are above $1 million in premiums. So this is sort of the largest money that was there today. And if there are contracts, again, if someone is spending $10 million on a contract with a far out of the money strike, then that's a strong signal for us and we need to look into it. What you'll often find is sometimes with these large $1 million orders, they are actually spreads. So whenever something is a part of a spread, that's not really a directional play. It might be a somewhat of a directional play, but it's not an explicit directional play. So just keep that in mind. If you see $6 million spent on a put, don't assume that QQQ is going to go down, because this is part of a spread. And until we know the second leg or the other legs of the spread, we can't make any claims. So you can filter those spreads by looking at by using the non-spreads filter. Then we have the opening order. This just means that this order was for sure an opening order and not a closing order, and this is not that useful, but some people do use it in their trading. Then we have the pre-earnings, post-earnings filter, and then we have a short sale restriction filter that tells us that these stocks are not allowed to be shorted these days. So now that we know about these filters, we can use them using a wide variety of combinations to find out potential plays. I'll give you again one example of things that I use. So since I'm a swing trader and I'm looking at plays that are going to pan out in, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, the filters that I use are bot, complex, then let's say OTM, because I want to see out of the money where the strike price is above the stock price in case of calls. Then I also want to see short-term expiry. And then what I do is, since all of these columns in the table are sortable, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this twice, and now I am going to see all the contracts in terms of the most money being spent. So this column is now sorted by the total premiums. So we can see here that an IWM put was bought, but since indices are mostly used for hedging, I'm going to skip any indices. We can see that Amazon, this looks good. So we can see that the stock price right now is 3478, and a 3500 strike strike contract was bought, and someone spent about 700k. So that's a very large sum of money that someone just spent for a contract that's going to expire in 2 days. So it's April 29th today. The contract is going to expire tomorrow. So now from this we can assume that the price might actually reach 3500. Otherwise their 700k are going to be meaningless, and they wouldn't spend 700k on a meaningless trade if they were not sure that the price was going to go above 3500. And if you click on the details button, you'll actually see that this is bought above ask. So now this shows urgency as well. They're spending a lot of money and they were willing to pay for an amount that was larger than the ask price. Now these are all the signals that we're getting based on this flow. And the whole idea behind using the Tradytics platform is that you want to find as many signals as you can that are going in the direction that you think the stock is going to go. So if you think Amazon might go up, or if you look at this flow and you can see that someone is expecting Amazon to go up, you just want to see some other things in the platform to make sure that Amazon indeed looks like it is going to go up soon. But this alone, this single row, is a really strong indication that Amazon might move up in a few days. Not in a few days, Amazon might move up in just 1 or 2 days. Then we can see that we had an Apple call sweep as well. So Apple is at 134 right now. Someone spent about 500k. This, I believe, actually panned out because after market Apple went up about 3%. So I'm hoping Apple is going to touch 140 today. So that just shows you how powerful live options flow is, where you can see how people are spending their money, and if the money is smart money and if it's in a large quantity, then you can just follow that money and earn great profit. So anyone who went into this trade with this one person would actually be pretty rich, because Apple, I believe, would be over 140 today when the market opens. So these are just two examples. I won't go into other examples, but you can see that these colors, if you want to understand these colors, what you can do is you can click on this colors explanation and you will know what all of these colors mean. Then another great thing we have for our live options flow tool is, because this flow keeps coming all day, not many people are able to just keep an eye on this flow. So what we have is we have these sound alerts. So you can enable or disable these sound alerts, and whenever an order that's at least worth 150k or 100k comes in, and that order is a sweep, because sweeps show urgency and we want to look at those specifically. Whenever an order is a sweep and is above 100 or 150k in premiums, you are actually going to get an audio alert where someone is going to speak up and tell you that there was just an order worth, let's say, 500k for Apple strike 140 that you should look at. So that makes it really convenient to use our live options flow tool even if you're busy doing something else. So I'm hoping we have covered everything for live options flow tool. This is such a complex tool and this is pretty comprehensive as well. So we are going to create more videos for this, but just a quick introduction in this video should hopefully be enough for you to get started and make your own plays. So best of luck, because this is a really powerful tool. I would recommend everyone to use it, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.